Hey guys, it's Zachary from HardwareZone, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 and why I think this still is the best Android smartwatch. But maybe not. But maybe yes. So I know that kind of sounds confusing, but I have my reasons for saying that, and those reasons will be made clear in this video. Now, we have a lot of things to cover, so let's get to it. Now, I've always been a fan of the Samsung Galaxy Watch ever since the first one dropped with a physical rotating bezel. Not that much of a fan of the Actives because no bezel. So when they brought it back in the Watch 3, super happy. Except that I did note that the Watch 3 wasn't exactly an update because it was really just the Active 2 in disguise. And that's also the reason why there's never been an Active 3. So kind of a bit of confusion there in terms of naming and model numbers. But with the Galaxy Watch 4, we finally have the update that we deserve. Brand new hardware, brand new software, and sort of more streamlined naming conventions. Samsung took away the Active from the name, so the watch without the bezel is just called the Galaxy Watch 4, and the watch that I have here with the bezel is called the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. For this review, I've only been testing the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, but that shouldn't be a problem because both these devices are exactly the same. They have identical specifications, features, and functionality. The only real difference between the Galaxy Watch 4 and the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic is aesthetic. If you like a more minimalist, cleaner design, you'd go for the Galaxy Watch 4. It's also a lighter watch because its casing is made of aluminum. If, like me, you like the bezel, you go for the Watch 4 Classic. This is also a little bit heavier because it has a stainless steel case. First, we're going to talk about all the hardware improvements Samsung has made to the Galaxy Watch 4 because this little thing is one of the most advanced health monitors you can get on your wrist today. After that, we'll talk about software, which is a whole can of worms on its own. Let's put that aside first. In terms of hardware, the Galaxy Watch 4 is a complete overhaul over its predecessors. The larger 46mm version I'm wearing here has a 1.4-inch Super AMOLED display, which is the same size as the Galaxy Watch 3, except this now has a much higher resolution at 450 by 450 pixels. It also has more memory, more storage, and a brand new 5nm Exynos wearable chipset that Samsung says has 20% more CPU performance and 10 times the graphics performance over its predecessors. Design-wise, the Watch 4 Classic actually looks very similar to the Watch 3. Now, one quick way to tell them apart is that here we've got sort of squarish rectangular buttons, while on the Watch 3 the buttons were round. Now, everything else actually looks very similar, even the back of the watch, except that all the sensors in here are brand new. We'll talk more about that later. Now, Watch 4 uses standard 20mm lugs for the straps, so if you want to change your straps, that's what you go for. What I have here is the Samsung's Sport strap. Now, these are your basic fluoroelastomer material. It's actually very soft and supple. I like wearing it. It hasn't given me a rash or an itch, after a long period of time, or even when I work out and there's sweat and all that. So that's pretty good. But you want to notice how the strap actually connects to the lugs and the way it's designed. It gives you this natural sort of curve, right, when you wear it. So if you're going to get the Sport strap, I urge you to actually try this out at the shop and get the correct sizing, because if you don't, that curve may cause you to have like a gap in your wrist as you wear the watch. Now, at the beginning of this, I said this was one of the most advanced health trackers available on your wrist, and that's because of all the new sensors Samsung has put into this thing. So let's go through them one by one. I'll tell you what they do, how they work, and sort of what I think of them. Now, the most interesting thing about the Galaxy Watch 4 is the introduction of a BIA scanner. This is the first of its kind in a smartwatch, and BIA stands for Bioelectrical Impedance Analysis. That's a fancy word for body composition. Now, if you've ever been to a health screening and they ask you to hold this device that tells you your fat percentage, you know, your skeletal muscle, water weight. It's kind of the same thing. And Samsung claims that the Galaxy Watch 4, the BIA sensor in this watch, is about 98% as accurate when compared to a DEXA scan. Now, DEXA scan are these basically industry standard full body scanners that you can only get in hospitals or medical centers. I don't have access to a DEXA scan. I've never done a DEXA scan, so probably going to have to take Samsung's word for that. Now, but I do have one of those smart scales that does have body composition scanning. I have a Huawei smart scale at home, and when I take my scanning, back to back between the Watch 4 and the scale, the results are pretty similar. I guess between a point something of a percentage, so I guess that's pretty good. Getting a scan is very simple. All you have to do is swipe down to the body composition tile, hit measure, enter your current weight, and follow the instructions. You put 2 fingers on both buttons. I don't want to press down, you just want to leave it there lightly to complete the circle so it can scan your body. This takes about 15 seconds, and after that you're gonna get your body composition on your wrist. Boom, that's done. Got skeletal muscle, fat mass, body fat, BMI, body water, BMR, all this very exciting stuff when I heard about the feature during the watch reveal. But now that I've actually used the watch for a couple of weeks and this feature specifically, a few questions pop up. Now, body composition is a very useful tool. I use it a lot to sort of track my nutrition and fitness goals and trends. Am I losing fat? Am I gaining muscle? Do I need to tweak my diet, change up my calorie intake or my macros and all that, right? But on the watch itself, is it gimmicky? Now, this brings up 2 issues with this feature, right? You have to manually input your weight before you start a scan. So no matter how accurate Samsung says the sensor in this thing is, your scores are going to be wildly different if you enter the wrong weight. Now, assuming you don't want to cheat and you want to use this feature and you want to get accurate data, you're going to have to weigh yourself first before you start the scan, which means you're going to have access to a weighing machine. And if you're going to do that anyway, you might as well just get a smart scale with a BIA scanner built in. And these scales are pretty cheap these days. Okay, that's a pretty long take for just one feature. And we still have quite a lot of things to cover for this watch. This feels like it's going to be a pretty long review. If you're still watching this, thank you so much for sticking around. I'll make sure to put timestamps in the video so you can jump to the features you want. Let's move on. Next up, we have blood pressure monitoring and ECG. Now, these aren't exactly new features because the Watch Active 2 and the Watch 3 already had them. It's just that during the time of those watches, they weren't available because Singapore didn't have the necessary regulatory approvals to use them. So they just weren't activated, and it kind of made those watches feel incomplete. We do have those approvals now, so the Watch 4 has these functions. But because we have those approvals, if you have the Watch Active 2 or the Watch 3, you can now enable those features in those 2 watches as well. Now, because these are sort of medical related features, there are some conditions to use them. For example, the blood pressure monitor requires you to actually have a blood pressure monitor at home or have access to one, because you need to sort of take initial readings and calibrate the watch for it to work. And you have to recalibrate it every other month to make sure it's accurate. On an ECG side of things, it's simpler. You just have to go to the ECG tile, start recording, again follow the instructions, and this time instead of 2 fingers like the BIA sensor, you just have to rest 1 finger on the top button and basically hold still for 30 seconds and it should complete the scan. Let's just wait for it. Okay, once it's done, it tells you that you have a regular sinus rhythm, or at least it tells me I have a regular sinus rhythm. This EEG does not show signs of atrial fibrillation, AFib, which is great. It sends the results into your phone, into a PDF, and if you need to share this with your doctor or medical practitioner, you can go ahead and do it. Now, here's the thing. These two features are exclusive to Samsung devices, right? These two features does not use the standard Samsung Health app. You can only get these results in the Samsung Health Monitor, which is something that you can only download on a Samsung device through the Galaxy Store. This is not available on the Play Store. And the funny thing is, I've noticed that you can't actually even find Samsung Health Monitor on the Galaxy Store if you purposely searched for it, right? Nothing pops up. Samsung Health pops up, everything pops up, but not the Samsung Health Monitor. The only way to get Samsung Health Monitor installed in your phone, if it isn't already is to pair it with your watch and start setting it up, like for example the ECG. Then if it's not on your phone, it will pop up and tell you to install it on your phone, and when you click it on your watch, it directly brings you to the app installation page, and that's the only way you can install this. So yeah, these two features, it's usable now in Singapore, but only if you also own a Samsung device. Finally, we've got the basic set of features we've come to expect from just about any modern smartwatch or activity tracker. I'm talking about optical heart rate monitor and blood oxygen monitor. Now, the Galaxy Watch 4 does 24/7 heart rate monitoring, stress monitoring via heart rate variability, VO2 max for your workouts, SpO2, and sleep monitoring. Now, here's the thing though, not all of these functions are automatically enabled out of the box. So when you set this up, do make sure to pop in your watch and enable them for the best results. Now, to do this, you don't go in the settings app of the watch, you go into Samsung Health, right? So pop open the app, scroll all the way down, go into settings. A couple of things that I did here. First, I went into measurement. I found out that my heart rate was only being measured every 10 minutes and stress was turned off. So I set both of these to measure continuously. Blood oxygen during sleep, this was also turned off, so I turned it on. Snore detection, now this is something new for the watch. We talk about that later, but I turned that on as well. And the other thing is, you scroll back down, there is something called connected services. I go into health platform, and the funny thing here is that this was all turned off. This looks like it's for the watch and the Samsung Health app on your phone to sync data. So anyway, I turned everything on just to be safe, and so far it seemed to work. Okay, let's talk about sleep tracking for a moment here. The Galaxy Watch 4 actually has 3 components to this, or by default out of the box, if you don't touch anything, you get standard sleep tracking. This basically tracks your sleep stages, your REM sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, and all that. If you enable the blood oxygen setting, you also get blood oxygen data with your sleep score, and there's that new snoring sort of tracking function. Now, this works in conjunction with your phone. You need your phone nearby so that if this is enabled and you do snore at night, your phone is going to record a session of your snoring and how you do, and basically you can listen to it back the next day, I guess. Not really sure. I've never gotten snoring data. I don't know if that's because I don't snore or it didn't work, but I did enable it. Although there was something I was thinking, for people who don't sleep alone, like if you sleep with your partner and your partner snores, what happens then? Now, in terms of how accurate the sleep score actually is, it's probably debatable. Like for example, if I take last night, well, you wouldn't know when last night was, but last night before I shot this, I wore both the Samsung and a Huawei watch to sleep at the same time. On the Samsung, I had 7 hours and 37 minutes of sleep. On the Huawei, I got 7 hours and 12 minutes of sleep. Pretty similar, yeah? But on the Huawei, I have 2 hours and 52 minutes of deep sleep, 2 hours and 38 minutes of light sleep, and 1 hour and 42 minutes of REM sleep on the Huawei. on the Samsung, I only had 50 minutes of deep sleep, 4 hours and 30 minutes of light sleep, and 1 hour and 30 minutes of REM sleep. So the closest here is the REM sleep, which is only 10 minutes apart, but between light and deep sleep is a big variance. Now, I'm not really sure which device is more accurate than the other. It's hard to tell at this point. You know, I've went a few days, and every time it's just slightly different here or there. I don't really see like a particular trend. But what I can tell you is that if you do use these features, right, to track your sleep, and you kind of want to know your own personal trends, just use that one device. If you just have a Samsung watch, then you're always going to see the data from the Samsung watch. If you just have a Fitbit, you're always going to see data from a Fitbit. And from there, you know, that one device, basically you have scores that are calibrated to you, so you won't have this problem. Like for me, when I look at different devices, I kind of get confused, and you know, I start questioning myself. But if you just have one device, it shouldn't really matter, because you're always going to see data from that one device and plot the trends from one device. In terms of activity tracking, I've always been a big fan of the whole Samsung experience. I feel that Galaxy watches have always been great at detecting your movement or your activity, and the Watch 4 is no different. Everything from auto detection to, you know, auto stop, auto start, auto pausing has been a very sort of seamless experience. And you see, I'm a guy that actually likes to pace a lot. When I'm working or when I'm thinking, I walk up and down the room all the time. And this has been the only watch or the only device that has actually auto-detected and recorded all my pacing. So if you look at my Galaxy Health app, you're going to see like it's just a whole, I have a lot of data, a lot of entries in this, and a lot of them are just auto-tracked walking activities basically. And I find it very interesting, because I'd go in and see, oh, you know, I was whatever I was thinking about, and I was pacing just to see how much I've actually walked in terms of distance based on that kind of pacing. Like even this morning alone, coming in here to set up to do this, I've already paced at this point about 1.3 kilometers in distance. Now, as much as I think the Watch 4 has excellent activity detection, an old problem has cropped up again for me. This has got to do with heart rate monitoring during a tracked exercise. Now, what happens here is that seemingly at random, intermittently, I would have chunks of my workout that the watch just stops sensing my heart rate. There will be missing data in small little chunks. Okay guys, it's happening again. Check this out. I'm past the 30-minute mark now. There we go. Heart rate's missing again. I can't really replicate it, as in I can't get it to come on or off, but from time to time it just disappears, and it happens more often than I wish it would. And again, like I said, this seems to happen completely at random. At times it will just work properly, the whole workout will be tracked, everything is there, and at times there will be like a small little chunk that has no heart rate data. Now I realized that this first happened to me, or I first realized this happening to me on the Galaxy Watch 3. Now when I did that review, I'll link it up there, I made a mention of that, and it's happening to me with the Galaxy Watch 4 as well. So I sort of went back into my Galaxy Health app and just checked out my whole workout history. I scrolled down all the way, basically scrolled down all the way into 2018. That's when I first started testing the Galaxy Watch, the original Galaxy Watch. And then I realized it has happened to me there too, right? So again, like I said, completely at random. Most times it works. So let me find one of these sort of workouts to show it to you, see what I mean. So this is okay, right? Right, the entire workout has my heart rate complete. That's fine. And this is okay. This is okay. Sorry, this is all the way back to 2018. I'm going to have to find one. Oh, there we have it. Right. 2nd October 2018, a 30-minute workout. And you can see this data is from the Galaxy Watch. And there you have it. All right. Heart rate data. And somewhere here, there is missing heart rate. Right. And this is from 2018. Now, if I swipe back all the way up to about 2020, this was when I tested the Galaxy Watch 3. When I noticed this happening there too, there we go. This was a run, right? 21st October 2020. It's a 22-minute run, about nearly 4 kilometers. This data is from the Galaxy Watch 3. And again, as you can see, somewhere in the middle, boom, missing heart rate data. Now, I can show you on the Galaxy 4, the Galaxy Watch 4 as well, same thing. Okay, this works. 16 August, this was a 50-minute sort of HIIT workout. So heart rate's going crazy, up and down, up and down, up and down. But entire 50 minutes, it has tracked, no issues. Okay, this was 26 August. This is 17-minute treadmill run. Went to the gym. Fine, boom. Missing heart rate. Right? So, yeah. Basically, this happens from time to time. I cannot replicate this. So, it's not specific to the Galaxy Watch 4. This seems to be something that has happened to me since the first Galaxy Watch in 2018 up to now. I cannot replicate it. I cannot force it to not work. Most of the time it does. I have to really go through my data to find workouts that it seems to spaz out. I don't know anybody personally that this seems to be happening to, but if you go into the Galaxy Watch subreddit and search for heart rate sort of irregularities or inconsistencies, you do note a few posts that pop up. So this seems to be happening to some other people as well, not just me. But how about you? Do you have a Galaxy Watch? Have you owned a Galaxy Watch before? Do you have even the Galaxy Watch 4 now? Has this happened to you? Have you noticed this happening to you? Or if it hasn't happened to you, write to us in the comments and tell me what you think about this, or what you've done to sort of made it better. Last hardware function to talk about is battery life. Now, as Galaxy Watches have gotten more and more advanced in terms of its sensors and functions, battery life has gone down. The first Galaxy Watch could reasonably last me about 5 days. By the time the Galaxy Watch 3 rolled along last year, I got about 2+ days with it. The Galaxy Watch 4 needs to be charged every other day. It can comfortably last you an entire day and entire night, but if you want to track your sleep the next day, you're going to have to charge it sometime before bed. Now, I've been using this for about 3 weeks now, and my routine has been to flash charge it. It's kind of like what I do with my phone. So anytime I'm not really using the watch, or I don't have anything to track with the watch, I'll just pop it on the charger for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, doesn't matter. Just get a bit of juice and wear it back. As long as when I go to bed, I have more than 30%, I'm quite happy with it, and that's how I've been sort of using the watch. I don't wait for it to drain completely and then charge fully before I use it. Okay, hardware stuff is all done. I think feels like I've been talking forever. This is probably going to be a very long review. Video editor is going to kill me for this. And again, if you're still here, thank you so much for staying. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. But let's get on to Wear OS. Now, if you didn't know, the Galaxy Watch 4 is the first smartwatch to use the new Wear OS 3, and it marks the return of Wear OS into Samsung sort of wearable devices over their own Tizen operating system. Now, I've been very critical of Wear OS in the past because it felt like a failed project or an abandoned project that was on its dying days. The last time I reviewed a Wear OS device was the Oppo Watch a couple of months ago, and I wasn't really that impressed with where it was going and the quality of the apps in the Wear OS Play Store. Now, with the Galaxy Watch 4, everything changes because now Samsung is on board back into Wear OS. Google has acquired Fitbit, so now you actually have big smartwatch or activity tracking or wearable brands that are able to push sort of Wear OS in a new direction, or basically give it a jump start and a second life. And I think that's very interesting. There have been more changes to Wear OS apps in the last 3 weeks that I've been testing the Galaxy Watch 4 than in the past 3 years, or so it seems. And I'm all for it. It's a positive and improvement, right? Developers are taking notice and making positive changes. Take Spotify, for example, which I've always felt was one of the most useless media apps, media companion apps, because all it did was play, stop, and forward tracks. It was a glorified remote control, and you didn't need that at all. Spotify now on the Galaxy Watch 4 can download offline tracks and play offline music. Good improvement. Another example is Strava. A lot of people use it, but the Wear OS app was a token afterthought. It had no UI. It was like just one big button that says a start, a run, or a ride, and that was it, right? It has been updated now with a proper interface. It has a menu. You can start runs, rides, walks, hikes, even Nordic skiing. It has a settings menu now that you can change, set up audio cues, auto pause, and start activity tracking. And it's great, right? You can see these kind of improvements being made day to day, but not all of these improvements are positive. For example, I had Telegram installed in my Galaxy Watch 4, which was available at the time when I got the watch. It still works right now. I can send and receive messages. Everything still works. This is a test message for the illustrious VJ. But I've noticed that Telegram has been removed from the Wear OS Play Store, so you can't actually install it anymore now. Not sure why it's removed, but this is one of those examples of just showing you that there are changes to the Wear OS Play Store in a day-to-day basis. And I just couldn't keep waiting to make this review and just see what these changes are. By the time you watch this review, there's probably going to be a lot more changes by then. Installing Wear OS apps is super simple. All you have to do is search for an app in the Play Store, and if it has a compatible Wear OS version, it will show up as other devices available on more devices. And here we have available on the watch, and you can just click install and it will install on your watch as well. But what I find that the more intuitive way to do this, since most of us really only use apps that we use every day, I mean, you're not going to specifically find an app for your watch. I mean, maybe you do, but in most cases, we already have all our day-to-day apps, everything that's on our phone that we use. So all you have to do is actually go to the Play Store on your watch and then click on this option that says apps on your phone. And it will search for all the apps that are on your phone that is compatible with the watch that's not already installed and give you a list. And from there, you can just click everything to install that you want. Although this is now a Wear OS device, it's heavily modified with Samsung's One UI interface. So the whole experience of using the Galaxy Watch 4, from menu navigation to how the apps look like, icons, they all look very familiar. And basically, if you're coming from an older Galaxy Watch, even Tizen Galaxy watches, you're not going to find a very big learning curve or jump from how the watches look and feel. Of all of Samsung's core apps that come with a smartwatch, I find that Bixby has been the most improved since the last time I've tried it. Maybe voice recognition technology is better now, but it kind of actually understands what I'm trying to say and gets most of my words correct when I'm dictating to it or asking it to do stuff right? For example, tell me a joke.
What's the Grim Reaper's favorite exercise? Soul cycle.
Ha 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 ha. Anyway, there are some other quality of life features that have made it into Galaxy Watch 4, such as gesture control and a remote shutter app. Now, I don't use gesture control much, but you can set it up to basically answer or decline alerts, right? Such as if I set up an alarm, set a timer for 5 seconds.
Your timer has started.
Right? So now, instead of pressing it to stop it, I could use a gesture. And my alarm is off. So, the Galaxy Watch 4 works pretty seamlessly with a Samsung smartphone. But what about a non-Samsung Android device? Thankfully, I have tried to run this for a couple of days with a Google Pixel 3 XL, and I'm kind of pleased to announce that the experience is pretty much the same. It's kind of 90% there. Why 90%? Because don't forget, blood pressure monitoring and ECG can only be run on a Samsung phone because that app can only be installed on a Samsung device. I guess they want to keep certain things exclusive, but otherwise, everything else on the Galaxy Watch 4 will work on an Android device, including Samsung Pay. And I think that's actually a pretty good advantage for Samsung, because for some weird reason, or at this point that I'm still making this video, is that Google Pay for Wear OS is still not available in Singapore. Okay, we interrupt this video because right now you're listening to Past Me talk about Google Pay on Wear OS. And guess what? By the time it took for us to shoot that segment and edit the video, Google Pay for Wear OS has just been released in a bunch of extra countries, Singapore included, which means everything that Past Me just talked about just now has been rendered null and void. And instead of just deleting the segment or reshooting it, I kind of wanted to do this just to show you my frustrations in reviewing the Galaxy Watch 4, because in the month that it's been out and I've been testing it, so many changes have happened that I keep having to rewrite, re-edit, and re-evaluate my opinions about quite a lot of things. And now this is a good thing because it's a positive improvement to the Galaxy Watch 4 and to the Wear OS ecosystem. It's just frustrating for me. But in summary, Google Pay for Wear OS is now in Singapore. You can directly install it on the Galaxy Watch 4. You can even set up the NFC option to choose Google Pay or Samsung Pay as your default contactless payment option. Or you can even have both Google Pay and Samsung Pay sort of coexist in the same watch depending on which app you use. I've tested this to work independently of the phone, and it works in stores as well as in public transport, so that's great. The only phone that won't run the Galaxy Watch 4 at this point is an iPhone. You won't even be able to pair it, and even if you did pair it, you won't be able to set it up because you need the Galaxy Wearable app, which you can't install on an iPhone. So there you have it. That's all I have to say about the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 series of devices. It's a very, very long review, and I think I've gone through everything that I need to go through. If I still have certain things that I missed out by this point, do write it in the comments. Let us know. We'll try and get to the bottom of it. So, after all this, do I still think that the Galaxy Watch 4 is the ultimate Android smartwatch? Yes, let's say yes. Now, I've been pretty impressed with the direction of progress that Wear OS apps have taken over the past week. I think I've changed my opinion on that quite a bit. I do hope that momentum remains though, because that is really what's going to give the watch its legs, and it can only be a good thing for all other future Wear OS devices as well. But even without that, I think the Galaxy Watch 4 is the one to beat. I mean, there are no one singular Android smartwatch out there today that has the amount of features, functions, or services that Samsung provides on the Watch 4 right out of the box. And that's just a fact, right? Even the price point, I haven't talked about that, even the price point is better now. Samsung has basically slashed the launch price of the Galaxy Watch 4 across the board, all its models, by $100 over last year's Galaxy Watch 3. Now the one I have here is 46mm Watch 4 Classic Bluetooth edition, and this would retail for 598 Singapore dollars. The equivalent on the Watch 3 last year was launched at 698. So yeah, even the price is better now. I guess the only thing I want Samsung to really look into is the heart rate monitoring issue that I seem to have with all their devices. But otherwise, that's it from me and the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. Thank you for watching this incredibly long review. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, and see you in the next video. Now lastly, we have the standard set of features we've come to expect from modern smartphones. I keep saying smartphones. Hey guys, before you go, don't forget to check out HardwareZone.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Join in the conversation. Like and subscribe to our YouTube if you want to see more of these videos. Do it.